Let's try it.
Well, you change it if you
4
want.
people.
Oh, you guys are live.
Are we live?
What's up? You pressed it live.
Let's go.
Well, there you go. Is the microphones connected?
I believe so.
Huh?
Is that connected?
Yeah. If you could, yeah, you should be connected. I can't hear anything. This is really weird.
Yes, podcast.
Ah. Are you?
This
Are
one.
you-
This one is has sound. Yeah, both of us.
Yeah, both of the sounds going in. Oh, amazing. All right, man. All right. What's up, people, and welcome to another D1M Mentality Podcast, where we talk about the number one thing that has the ability to make or break your dream, your mentality. My name is DM, a private pilot. This is Mo. He's the steady athlete and fitness coach. This is, of course, episode number 14. It's a birthday special. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and we've got a special guest today, Mr. Max himself, to our right. Brilliant. Guys, we are streaming from the Isle of Wight, so if you are struggling with audio, too bad, because we're in the Isle of Wight. So we thought we would come out here, fly out here since it's my birthday, and actually see if we can't enjoy the views and share some stuff with you guys. So thank you for joining in. We've got an amazing 3 people online. That's amazing. What's
5.
5. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Fluctuates up and down. All right, what's up to you in the chat, Mr. Mo? How's it going, man?
It's going very well. Enjoying the day. It's better than expected.
Oh yeah.
My first time flying, even
Yeah.
with my good friend G. I was saying before that I know G for years already. He's really passionate when it comes to flying, and I've never been in an airplane with him. And today, the first time in his birthday, so I do really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good
that's
experience.
awesome, man.
Good experience.
Yeah. Now it's great to share it as well. Like I want to share it with as many people as possible. I want to share it with as many people as possible. Yo, okay. If you're not going to be positive in the chat, you're just going to get locked. We're all about positivity. We're all about encouraging each. Yeah.
I've been watching your videos online that you guys should watch as well on YouTube. And yeah, I love what you do. So
I
I had to
appreciate it.
join.
Appreciate it.
How did you guys meet? Both of you.
So I was actually watching his videos, and I've been flying, starting flying in North Wales, and I met him there. Introduced myself, and then we started chatting, and then yeah, talked on social media. It's the power of social media as well. That brought us together. So yeah,
That's it.
here we are.
So we got a pilot here and a future pilot over there.
There you
So listen, hey, future
pilot,
pilot helping other pilots become pilot.
Always.
Honestly, amazing.
Always. So over to you, man.
So we always like to talk about. We always have a main topic and minor topics. And the minor topic of today is how
You
Help me
lost There back. Looks like we're back. Okay, the other guys are glitching. We should be. Oh, it started a new one. Well, there you go. Responsibility time where we ask each other that you should have been doing that you haven't been doing this week to move yourself towards your dream. Why? Because the power of accountability. Accountability is very powerful. Keeps us going. Keeps us moving towards our dream. So, Mr. Mo, what is it that you know?
So thanks to this for learner, I need to see things that helps me out. So that's what I did. And something that I know I started doing schedule as I organized it.
Following the schedule. So you made it, but you just didn't follow it. That's the next step, to be fair. That is the next step. You make a plan and then you try to follow it.
Yeah.
So that's what you've not been doing. Fair
Yeah.
dues.
So from here to next week,
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the schedule that I made on Sunday for next week.
Yeah.
As it is, step by step.
As a challenge, I would say though, think about if you can't follow it, think about why that is. Yes, there's an aspect of discipline and getting yourself to do it. But I would also challenge you to say that sometimes there's an aspect of we create plans that sometimes are not realistic.
I see.
For example, me.
It's not
like-
to lower your expectations, right?
Right,
Like
right.
Having high expectations
Exactly.
and being like lowering your goals.
Right,
And being
right.
like, okay, if I want to achieve that target, I
Yeah.
have to lower my. That's tough. Like
It is
you need to
humility.
set your ego on the side,
Exactly.
And that's quite tough. Yeah.
It's humility. So there's one psychologist who I like, he explains it as aim low, but aim up. Right? So aim up from where you are, but you don't have to aim for something that's so big that you can't achieve it. So aim low, but aim up. As long as you're improving and you're having incremental improvements over a long period of time, then by the time you're done, you'll be so far ahead compared to where you started. But yeah, sometimes, as you said, it takes humility, Max, to actually be able to say like, okay, I can't do that. Like for me, I'll be like, on Friday, I'm gonna do a whole day of work, and then I'm gonna go out to salsa and salsa till midnight, and then I'm gonna come out and fly the whole day today. It's like, if I actually want to do my plan, I have to reduce it.
And then you see me waiting half an hour for D that he meant to pick me up today after having been dancing until midnight.
With top.
Yeah.
Right.
That's gonna, increase your dopamine level, right? Like if sense of achievement, you will want to continue, and
100%.
that's how you're gonna get there.
100%. 100%.
That helps, I think, or that link. That's something that I link on having like small goals, right? Because you actually
Small steps. Yeah.
small steps, feeling that you're improving,
moving towards the
yeah,
big goal.
day by day, maybe it's difficult, but week by week, feeling that, oh, I had this goal last week, and I made it happen. So now I feel like closer to what I actually want to be.
Can be
And
quite overwhelming as well when you see the full pictures at all times.
yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I'm studying to be a pilot, as you guys know, and if you look at all the 7 books, like I have them on my shelf, and I've put them away because I don't want to see
Right.
them. I
Just
want to focus on one book at a time, because otherwise it's too overwhelming. It's impossible.
very true. Very true. Very true. So accountability time for me. I think last time I talked about resting.
Yeah.
I started a new job this week, and that's been so important. Like, as you can imagine, I've met like tens of people, different names, doing inductions, doing trainings, like so much information overload. Where I've got home, I actually haven't been able to do anything. Like, I'd usually go back home and do editing or something. No way. Like, I've been really tired, so I've had to really think about resting. So I'm grateful that this week I've been able to do that. Structure. I think it's time to also get a bit more structure to my time. Now I know how much rest I need. I want to be more intentional next week in actually planning my time. Like, okay, make sure I get my 8 hours sleep and be productive in the other time, as well as do the new job. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
That's good. I feel like it always helps like to analyze the way you're doing things. If you like just assuming that you're doing things right, it's just hard to believe that
Yeah,
you're gonna constantly stay in the right direction, right?
100%.
And-
What about you, Max? So you've joined us. What is it that you know you should have been doing this week that you haven't been doing that you can make a commitment to try better
Well,
next week?
I'm happy you mentioned that, actually, because I was probably going to say the same thing. You know, like I've set plans for this week that I'm not. You know, it's you set plans for yourself. You don't achieve them during the week.
Yeah.
Talking about new sports earlier, I started cycling.
Nice.
Obviously, having to study for the PPL and things like that, while working on the side, technically, I have to organize myself. And there are things that I'm not. Maybe it's a question of prioritizing your, you know, your basically targets. You need to. Maybe think that it's impossible to do everything at once, but you have to accept that. And sometimes it might be quite overwhelming, and so you start thinking like, yeah, okay, there's no way I can do any of that, so I'm not going to do anything. And probably last week was a bit like that.
Right.
So I had some high and low weeks, but I'm also counting on the next week to sort of reset.
Right.
And
Right.
from Monday, you know, as we say, like start on the right foot and get those targets done.
Yeah. So what are you going to be aiming to do this coming week?
So I'm aiming for like a 100 kilometer ride.
Nice. Is that aggregate throughout the week
Can be
in total?
split it throughout the week.
Okay, nice.
So I want to do like Tuesday, Thursday, I'm cycling.
Nice.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to the gym.
Nice.
But on top of that, I have to study every day for the PPL and work at the same time 9-10 hours a day. So you have to organize all of that, and obviously it's quite complicated. But I feel like once you've achieved like the perfect week, we often refer that as like the perfect week when everything is
aligned.
aligned. That's incredible feeling, and then you reset
100%.
onto the next.
But
you have to look at, again, small steps. You have to look at like 1 week at a time, and at some point you will not realize that, but it's gonna be like 20 weeks.
That's it. Like, I remember this one time a few years ago, early on in my PPL journey. I had this day when I came to North Weald. Actually, it was so foggy.
Yeah.
Crazy fog. Like, as you drive in, you can't see the runway. That's how foggy it was.
And they let you fly.
No, I thought I wouldn't have even tried to fly on that day. I love my life. Anyways, yeah. So walking in fog just reminded me sometimes what we need to do in life is sometimes you can only see the next 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, and that's it. And the rest is like in the fog.
Absolutely.
But the more you step forward, the more the next step appears, if that makes sense. So
And sometimes you
always
don't want to
remember that.
go, like, if you don't have any fogs, then, like, you don't really want to go because it's too overwhelming. If you see the end of it,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be like, yeah, no, it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
too
it's true.
difficult
It's
to
true.
get there, so
It's
I don't
true.
want to go there.
Yeah.
So it's a good sign sometimes.
Yeah.
you know.
I was telling you this last week, I think, that it's almost like my brain was almost telling me like how busy I was and what I had to do because I had like uni. Thinking like, no, you can't do this. Just do today's goals. It's fine. In the end, you will achieve all of it. Just need to break it down. Having said that, let's move on to just a breath. With you guys over the years, just kind of put it out there. Right. So I shared some stuff with you. Maybe let's pick it up from you. What do you remember? The statements I sent you.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that you wanted to talk about the lessons that you have learned these past years, right?
Yeah.
And so, starting from there, here's a question from you, for me to you, and is, what advice would you give to your younger self? I've asked you this before, but if you feel comfortable sharing it, would be nice.
I don't know. I find questions like that very weird to answer. I don't know. It's really hard to like externalize and like step out myself and speak to my younger self. But I would say probably when I look at a young student pilot who is trying to, well, at least get to where I am or beyond, just get started. Just get started. Like the same thing when we're talking about investing. It's like you think, oh, I need to have everything all together. And actually, if you go back to my intro video, that's one of the things I talk about. It's like for a long time I was waiting for all the ducks to line up. But it's like sometimes the ducks just don't line up. Most of the time it doesn't seem like they do. And you figure your way out, and almost like trusting in your ability to learn. Remember like the first time you learned to drive, and you were talking about this a little bit earlier when it was like about flying, how it's overwhelming at the beginning, you know, with communication, navigation, you know, flying the plane, etc., etc. It's all elements at one. But just remember the complex things you can do, like driving. There's a lot of multitasking. But yeah, it was tricky, but you learned it, you know. So start and trust in your ability to learn along the way. Not that you need to know it now. Like, don't let your confidence come from, oh, I know this.
Yeah.
But you can also draw confidence from, I have the ability to learn.
Yeah.
So I will learn, you know. So if I was speaking to a younger student pilot, I would say that, like, just get started. Just get started. Yeah, what do you guys think of that?
Good advice. I love it. I mean, yeah. I mean, as I said, I was looking at your YouTube channel, and that's probably the reason why I started at Northworld.
I want commission.
I
want commission.
Northworld, if you listen, please, money.
Yeah.
Some discount at least
Yeah,
for the flight lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but that's very interesting, and I guess that applies for anything, not just to flying.
100%.
One thing that I've asked my uncle who's doing triathletes. Triathletes, is that how you? Triathlon?
Oh, triathlons.
Triathlon,
Yeah.
yeah.
Triathlons, yeah.
French coming back. You know, like I was asking him, like, how do you basically start training for a marathon.
Mhm.
And he told me like the best way is to just sign up for one,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll see. Because there's no way you can really learn anything if you don't actually do it.
Yeah.
Theory is really nice, can help you solve a lot of problematic situations, especially in flying. But practice is also very, very important.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually committing to doing it in the first place. You have like your first, first foot on the table, and then you can go.
So, what advice would you give to a younger Max?
Well, I'm just 24, so.
Well, there you go. They're still
It's
younger,
difficult
right?
to say that.
They're still younger though. There's
still younger
18-year-old Max. There's 15-year-old
15.
Max.
No, I would say honestly, I would say just don't be afraid of just dreaming. And, I've quite often been too afraid of that, dreaming big and committing to that first step that we were talking about. So I would say, don't be scared of anything, especially failure. That's really important. Something that I really picked up from like being a year in the US, for example. I lived a year in the US, and there the mentality is really like you sort of need to fail before you actually get it. And I think it's quite important to embrace that into your journey, like the idea of, well, you're gonna go out there, maybe you're gonna fail, maybe not, but you need to enjoy as much the failure as you would enjoy the success.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one advice that I would give to my younger self.
Yeah, and I think I'd piggyback on that, because I'd say another thing that I'd share, and I do share with like young student pilots or anybody that I'm like mentoring or whatever, like younger cousins, is work on your mind, right? Because that's a mental game. How you handle failure is a mental game. How you handle conflict is a mental game, and you're going to have conflict in the workplace, whatever, at home. You're going to have conflict. How you handle it is a mental game.
Yeah.
So work on your mind.
It's not just
Work
about
on
like conflicts with other people. It's
Conflict
also
self.
often conflicts with yourself, because you're gonna think something and then you're gonna want to go into another direction. For example, as I told you guys earlier, like I went into like a sales career, but now I want to go into a flying career. So you need to convince yourself that okay, it's possible to change your career.
Yeah.
Even though I'm just 24 now. Like I want to change completely to something completely different, so that's conflicting with myself. I guess you need to accept that.
100%.
For sure.
100%. And yeah, this quote that I heard is like, if you're not failing, you're not even trying, and it's so true. And I guess that when it comes to failing, me as a personal trainer, I've seen like top athletes, and when they lose a final, when they fail in sport, they have a similar mentality that a teenager or a 20-year-old athlete that is failing in sport as well, which is like, what am I doing? I'm not worth it anymore. So you do actually have to like train that your mentality and say like, failing is okay, overcoming it. The way you're doing it is the most important thing. But most is like learning, doing it to learn something and not to just win. Because what's going to happen if you lose? Which is going to be...
Embrace the journey.
Yeah.
And not the end game.
Because losing and failing is gonna happen all the time. But if you do it to learn, that's the massive difference. And that's what I would do. The advice I would give to my...
Focus on learning.
Yeah.
Focus on learning.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've shared it with you guys. I probably have, right? Or maybe I've been on lots of video calls. So this
Popular
is
guy,
my
yeah.
notes from 2020, 18th of August, when I did my trial flight.
Nice
Trial
handwriting,
flight,
bro.
Cessna 150.
Wait. Very nice handwriting. Bro.
Thank you. I've got like 3 different handwritings. It's so weird. If I'm writing fast, I write a different
Really?
way. If I'm writing, yeah. I've got like different handwritings. Simulator experience helped. Theory helped. Look outside the aircraft and use more visual references. Use differential braking using taxiing if necessary. So like I've got pretty much all my flights in this book. Because for me, it's all about the learning. And if you can't reflect on the learning, then, you know, that's 6th of June, 2021. Do I have my first solo here? Let's see.
This is gonna worth
No,
millions.
my first solo, I was too excited. I didn't write anything down. I wrote the next flight though on the 12th. There, look. I went solo. Big smiley
So that's
face.
your notes.
That was the next
I
day.
love that.
So exactly
You'll
what
keep
you
that
said.
forever,
Oh, forever. And I still add flights even now, you know, like
On the same trip?
bounced on the Isle of Wight. Too many bounces on landing, you know, like something
That's
like that,
really good.
because it's all about having an attitude of actually learning. So I encourage people to always journal. And, you know, like people have athletes, they've got sports psychologists,
Yeah.
but when you can't afford that, you have to do it for yourself, you know, enter YouTube. You've got all those people kind of making free videos on YouTube, telling you how to overcome. They overcame a whole bunch of stuff, you know? So there's no reason why, like one of the first things I always listen to when I wake up is like a motivational thing. Because again, I'm trying to work on my mind, you know? Your mind will reveal the opportunities ahead of you, or it will blind you to them. Like the other lesson I learned is money is not the only form of currency, and I can't beat on this drum enough. People go, it's too expensive to afford flying, and yes, it's quite expensive, but people think they need money when they don't. Money is one form of currency. Look, if you had a plane, you had an instructor.
Wait. What do you think about that, Alex?
Well, I think he's the best example actually. I mean, I don't know if you've been sharing.
Oh
that
yeah,
on your
100%.
channel, but,
Yeah.
Your journey has
Yeah.
been all about, you know, like getting scholarship and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think he's the best person to speak about that. Like money is not a currency, and you're right.
It's
mean, it's
just
not the only
one
currency.
form. Yeah.
Because why?
If you had a plane, you had an instructor that was willing to teach you, you had fuel, you had the space, what use do you have for money? No. So money just gives you access to those things, right? So what you need is access, not the money. Money is an intermediary. So there's other forms of currency, like your story. Your story is currency. What do people sell when they're doing a fundraiser? They're selling a story. I'm going to go climb this mountain, right? And I'm going to do this very hard task, and it's for this really good cause. Please help me. Boom, people donate money because of the story. Your story is a form of currency. Tell your story. Don't hide it. And like, this is why I tell people, like, own your story. Don't make it like, oh yeah, like, no, if you're poor, say I'm poor. Like, if you can't afford flying, say I can't afford, like, own your story. If you've got it and your challenge is different, then say, yeah, I've got the money, but my challenge is different. Say it. Own your story, whatever your story is, you know, because your story is a form of currency. Relationships, right? Somebody else might have had to pay hundreds of pounds to have this experience. But we have a relationship, it's not going to cost you that. So relationships are a form of currency, right? You were able to get an opportunity to fly because of the relationships you had,
Absolutely.
right? Relationship is a form of currency. So go
And
out,
on that
meet
you
people.
You learn a lot, and that's where you learn the most, I think.
Right.
And that form of currency is the most priceless relationships, and yeah, that's the best.
Because then people share with you certain tips and tricks that save you money. So is it the extra money you needed so you could waste it? Or is it the relationship you needed which could save you the money?
And that's something that money cannot buy, technically.
There you go.
A lot of relationships that I've been making in the past and still today, they don't cost any money.
Right.
Sending you a message on Instagram didn't cost me any money,
Right.
but it brought me here.
Right.
So, you know,
That's
you're
it.
right.
That's it.
Good
So,
example. Huh?
you know, there's money, there's relationships, there's your story, there's your, obviously part of your story is your struggle. These are all different form of currency that you can you can then use. And I don't think I would have got a scholarship if I didn't have all these elements, you know, because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I know I look like it.
Do you?
Probably are.
But listen, my grades from school are very average, especially when you compare it to the other people who are applying for scholarships. Very average.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Can I go off?
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Like, is it something that, you know, because you mentioned that you haven't had the best grades at school and things like that, is it something that sort of like triggered your mind to, okay, I'm not capable of being a pilot? Is it something that you've ever thought about?
In a very distant side of my mind, I've questioned it. Like, could it be a limitation?
Yeah.
But then I just switched that side off.
Okay.
We're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna, but the other side, and this is where like listening to motivational speeches and other people's stories. Oh, thank you, man. Listen to motivation people and other people's stories. Someone like David Goggins, like struggled to pass his exams, used to cheat all the time, like in his exams, and like. But then when you are passionate and serious about, like, I never actually learned how to study until I found something that was very serious about figuring out aviation.
Because it's about passion, right?
Right.
It's
Commitment.
You're not working hard, or, I mean, you are technically, but it doesn't feel like it.
Right. Because every time I figure out that section of text in the aviation books, I can be like, oh, so that's how I'm going to use it when I'm flying. It's not just I'm learning it for the sake of learning. It's actually like I'm envisaging myself applying this and I'm committed to this. So that's when I actually really learned how to study, you know? So I don't think that those grades are a representation of what I can do. They're a representation of what I did, but not what I can do.
Yeah.
And so in kind of facing challenges, I've kind of convinced myself, and this is why in previous times we talked about like one of the most important things to do, why you should just start, is because you build an identity. You know how you started flight training? Now you have the identity of a student pilot.
Yeah.
Before that, you didn't have pilot associated with your name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But as soon as you take the first step, as soon as you invest your first £10, now you can call yourself an investor. Right? You're changing your identity, right? And we want to be coherent with our identity.
Absolutely. No, I think it's really important to call yourself something in order to actually be that thing, or
100%.
that person that you want to be. Obviously, being a student pilot is probably the first thing I mentioned during a conversation.
There you go.
To people that I meet, because I'm proud of that. And I shouldn't be ashamed of being 100%. Proud of that, because that's literally who I am and who I want to be as a pilot in the future. So I think it's really important to embrace that.
100%.
I think that is a skill that helps me now, at least, is like putting myself in an uncomfortable position, and like the feeling of like, oh my God, I'm feeling scared.
Do or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what am I scared? Because I'm gonna go and do something that I'm not used to it. For example, something that is not gonna kill me. I'm not gonna fight a lion. I'm not gonna, just maybe I have to overcome. I don't know. Start learning how to dance, how to I don't know, do a new exercise, join a team or something. Like small challenges that actually build your character, your identity in general, and sometimes I feel like you mentioned that you were not the best academically, but who is actually who can say that he's the best in something? Because the only way to actually start saying that you are the best in something is you believe in it, in yourself. Otherwise, that's never gonna happen.
That's true.
Because you might be lying to yourself right now, but if you don't believe that you are the best, or that you're gonna be the best, that's not gonna happen.
Do you know what I believe?
That you're the best.
Bravo.
The way I see it is sometimes I can get more motivation because I would be like, I'm not the best, and yet here I am doing what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, we talk about El Leon all the time, right? My mentor from afar, he's got this